Okay, don't judge me, but if you're like me, you have your phone in your hand all the time. I know I do. And that can present all kinds of issues, from not being present in the moment, like with who's around you or in front of you, or it can be a thing where you're just too hyper focused on things that are happening on your phone. For me, I do a lot of my work on my phone. I'm also on my social media. So for me, that's Twitter, reading different things. But for you, that could be Instagram or TikTok as well. Maybe you're playing games on your phone, watching videos on YouTube, or you're on Twitch, maybe even. You might get notifications on your phone to tell you there's a close game that you need to turn on and watch, or you might get notifications that your favorite streamer is on Twitch and they're live right now. A lot of people are going through FOMO, right? The fear of missing out, always checking your emails or checking to see what's going on, scrolling through your social media feeds to see what people are posting, see if people are liking what you're posting. Sometimes that means that you need to be on top of everything, and that can lead you to sometimes even being frozen in the moment, just being overwhelmed by all the things that are going on and happening. There's a sweet spot we should strive for. We're not completely always on and hyper aroused by everything around us, but also not being disconnected or numb from things that are happening. In my work talking to men, young men and boys, I talk about our range of emotions and the emotions that we're feeling or not feeling, reading or not reading. And I think of it like the notifications on your phone, feeling or reading the emotions that pop up when something happens in your body. Do you have a routine to self-scan yourself emotionally and mentally to figure out how you're feeling and what you're feeling? Or do you numb yourself and turn off all those emotional notifications? Think about the ways we navigate all the pings, the emotional notifications we get throughout our life, throughout all our daily interactions, talking to people online or in person, and how that affects us, affects our mental being, our mental health, and impacts the decisions we make or don't make. Talking about our mental health is more important now than ever as we're going through stages of the pandemic. I think about how when this all started back in 2020, people didn't know what to do or how to do it. And whenever there was messages coming from health and science experts or our political leaders, we all kind of stopped what we're doing and all tuned in to kind of learn more. There's a moment that happened in March of 2020 outside the Prime Minister's home when he was doing a press conference. That's a great example of what I'm talking about when it comes to the emotional notifications we get, like the pings or the notifications on our phone. So the press are gathered outside, waiting for the Prime Minister to step outside of his house and do the press conference just in front. And sure enough, he comes out and he's wearing a suit and tie. And this was mid-March, so it was really cold outside still. And he came out and he started doing his talk and updating everyone. Of course, we're all on the edge of our seats, well, most of us, listening and trying to understand what's going on, what's the latest, what are we doing or not doing. And there's a moment where Trudeau said, you know what, I'm going to take your questions, but first I'm going to go back into the house and I'm just going to grab my jacket. I'll be right back. And the Prime Minister turns around, goes up his steps, and you can hear the news anchor being like, he went to go get his jacket. Okay, there he is. He's back. Okay. And he just turned around, went behind the door, like a lot of us. His coat was hanging there, grabbed it, came back down the steps, puts his jacket on, and he says, okay, now let me take your questions. And that small moment to me was a great example of listening to the emotional notifications going on in your body. Trudeau was doing this press conference, and again, knowing the pressure at that time, whenever he speaks, especially then when we're all full of fear and anxiety and trying to figure out what's going on with this pandemic, Trudeau paused that moment and thought, I'm cold. He listened to his body. He heard what his body had to say, and his body told him, we're cold. I need to warm up. I'm doing this press conference. I'm taking questions from the media representing hundreds of thousands of Canadians across the country, giving information, asking questions. I need to be at my best, not just for my job, but just also for myself. Like, I need to keep myself warm to be able to do this right. And also I need to set a good example for people as far as taking care of myself and my physical health and also my mental health. So he said, I need to get my jacket, or he thought it. But then of course there's a part of him that's probably like, bro, you're in front of the whole nation. You can't go off and get your jacket. Just man up and just stand there and just do your thing. Don't look like a loser. Just keep talking. Look tough. Look strong. But Trudeau said to himself, no, what's more important is for me to actually, recognize that real strength is acknowledging what I'm feeling and doing what I need to do to take care of my physical body, and ignoring these ideas of what makes me appear strong and doing what makes me actually feel healthy and good, and also is a good example for other people as well. So he did that, and he listened to his body, and he went and he got his jacket. And I think the example here is how we in everyday moments are wrestling with all these different things around, like, what will people say, what will people think, and what's more important, right? What people think about you or what's best for you. And really ultimately what's best for everyone else as well. Like, when you're in a good place, it helps out everyone that's around you, the people that are depending on you, people that don't know you. It's just a good impact that we can have on ourselves and one another. Susan David said, emotions are data, not direction. Emotions are data, not directions. It gives you information that you can then make a good choice. If you're ignoring that data, you'll probably make a bad choice. So when it comes to emotions like feeling angry or sad or scared or nervous or anxious, those are all things that don't define you. They help guide you. So things like anger, sadness, they're not necessarily good or bad things, but again, it's what we do about it that will define the situation and the outcome for us. Just like we're talking about immunity a lot these days, I want to talk to you about a few steps that I describe as ways to have emotional immunity when it comes to social isolation, dealing with the pandemic, and dealing with the feelings we have, the emotions that come up as a result. The first thing I want to talk about is how you need to avoid the virus, but not your feels. It's important to avoid contracting the virus, but not our feelings around it, how we feel about it. Catching feelings, recognizing and naming what we're feeling. Name what you feel and deal. Take a moment to check in with yourself and ask, what am I feeling right now? How am I feeling? Young Pueblo once said, the pause before we act is the space where we reclaim our power. So while we're present in our homes, we can be more present in our bodies. We can catch some good habits and spread those around one another. So again, name what you feel and deal. So when you name something that you're feeling, you can take a step back, take a deep breath, determine a constructive way to address it. Don't diminish your feelings or those of others. Take a walk, step back, meditate, leave the room for a little bit. Stop scrolling through news feeds or social media feeds if you feel something is being activated inside you. Men and young men are coming to terms with the reality that just like the notifications on our phone, our emotions are present and they're constant all the time. Self-care does not mean by yourself. It's about community care and spreading kindness and spreading love. The trick is being able to be with your emotions without becoming your emotions, right? So it's being able to sit with what you're feeling and not becoming that. I think we're realizing in this moment that our world is really a village of relationships. The relationship you have with others, but also your relationship with yourself. So make that relationship and all those different interactions in your life healthy ones. And that includes your relationship with your emotions. So whatever comes up in your life, whatever feelings you feel, don't suppress them, don't numb them, don't turn off those notifications, but you don't need to feel overwhelmed by them as well. Find a way to navigate what you're feeling, name what you feel, and deal. Sometimes you can deal with it in the moment, sometimes you need to put it aside for a second, take a deep breath and step back, but we need to all find ways to deal with our emotions and navigate them and recognize that we're in control. I know it's not as simple as I try to make it sound, but the idea is that you're on that journey and you're not alone. You have people in your life to support you. Reach out, give yourself permission to feel, because you're going to recognize others feel that permission as well when you model it. That's the kind of community spread that we need.